Hi guys, welcome to my second video. So today I want to talk about the London system again. So this one is going to be the second part of the London opening for White. So if you watched the first video of the London system, mine video, you will know that I talked about the basic stuff for White, or what the London system is, what the London system is all about, etc. So today we are going to talk about London system again, but it will be kind of different. We will be looking some options for black, and we will be talking about how or what we can play against these setups if black goes for it. So this one will be more theoretical video, and yeah. And before getting into video, before getting into the London system, I wanna introduce my self a little bit. So I am Nart. I am 24 and I have been playing chess for like 16 years, 15, 16 years now. And on chess.com, my bliss rating is over 2450, and my blood rating is over 2700. My best time control is for sure bullet. I'm really good at bullet, and my rapid rating is over 2300 on chess.com. Yeah. So I wanted to uh, show you this to you guys. Okay, so then we can continue our video. We can get into the London system. Okay, so let me change the scene. Alright, so that should be better. Okay, so here we go. So London system happens after white starts off with d4, followed with bishop f4. So here the most popular moves for black is knight f6 or d5, but most likely, I mean these moves can get the same position. So black can start with d5, but most likely he will be playing knight f6 in the next turn after we play bishop f4. So you can get pretty much the same thing um, after d4 and bishop f4. But sometimes black doesn't have to commit his pawn to d5. So today we will also talk about that. So for example, what happens if black plays knight f6 first, and then when you play bishop f4, what are we going to do if black plays d6 instead of d5? So we will be talking about this stuff as well. So stay tuned. Watch until the video, watch until the end of the video, guys. Okay, so this one is going to be a long video, so yeah, I would recommend you to watch the whole video. We will be discussing different setups for black, and you will be learning how we should play against these ones. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about this setup. So we have talked about this one a little bit in the first video. So basically we are playing e3, and then here, what I realized is, especially at the beginner level or at the intermediate level, I observed that so many people tend to play knight c6 or bishop f5. I think these are extremely common, especially below 1000 rating. Yeah, I think these moves are really so common. So let's talk about what we should play or how we should play against this setup. So here, let's say black plays bishop f5. Looks very natural, black is developing his piece. So here, guys, my recommendation would be playing knight f3. So we don't have to challenge this bishop immediately. We don't have to challenge this bishop right away by playing bishop d3. So here my recommendation is knight f3. And now there is a great chance, there is a big chance for black to play knight c6. That is super common, that is a super common move. But I'm not saying that this is correct. I think that is wrong approach by black, but that is extremely popular because so many people think like, okay, I'm developing my minor pieces. But the problem with knight c6 is, as I briefly talked about in the first video, usually in the d4 d5 setup, you need to play with your c pawns first, putting them to c4 and c5, and then playing knight c6 or knight c3 later on. Because if you don't do that, so here if black doesn't play c5, if he plays knight c6 first, then this pawn is blocked, and black will not have a real pressure. Black will not have a real pressure against this d4 pawn. So if that happens, if your opponent goes for this one, what I suggest you to play is bishop to b5. So just go ahead, pin the knight, and then get some pressure to this knight. So here, if black plays pawn to e6, if black ignores your threat, if he goes for e6, now I want to ask you to what you would do if you were white. So feel free to pause the video and let's see. Alright, if you came up with the idea of knight e5, that is great, because now with knight e5 you are increasing the pressure on this knight and you are threatening to take this knight because we have two pieces. So if you thought about knight e5, you are awesome. Like, that is an amazing move. And then now it is really hard for black to defend this knight, because if you place queen d6, then you can simply take the knight, and now you are doing discover attack. He cannot take the knight. It is not going to work. And he cannot play queen b4 either. Knight covers. After knight e5, white is winning. White is almost winning the game. Yeah. So here, if black instead plays, if he plays a6, now we can take the pawn. So we can take the knight. I meant to say knight. So, and after black takes the bishop, now guess what? The same idea. We can jump on the e5 square, this square with our knight, and then we are having a good pressure towards this pawn. And then here again we have a great position. Yeah, black may play bishop d7 in order to defend his pawn, but he has played twice with the bishop, so we can just castle and we can continue our development. So that is definitely good for white. Okay, and then let's see what we are going to do if black plays d6. That is the main point of today's video actually. I wanted to talk to you guys about how we should play if black goes for the King's Indian defense way. So what happens if he doesn't play d5? If he plays g6 and bishop g7. So here there are a couple of setups for white, but what I wanna talk today is knight c3. So I want to talk about this system. So you may wonder, like, okay, but didn't you just say it about like push your c pawn first and then play knight c3? Yeah, I suggested that, but now that is different. That is a different position, because now there is no pawn on d5. So we are not aiming towards the d5 pawn. Instead, what we are doing is we are trying to play e4. So we are preparing e4 here. We are going to play e4. So here there are two ways for black to play. The first one is bishop g7, allowing white to play e4, and the second one is stopping e4, d5. So if black plays d5, now you can play pawn to e3, Yeah, here actually I also want to mention this one. Like, you can play queen d2 followed with bishop h6 as well. That is also a nice way for white to play. So you can have a queenside castle. You can have a long castle, and then you can play like f3, g4, h4. You can play like that. That is playable for white. Or you can also play pawn e3, and then after bishop g7, now guess what? Now you can play pawn to h4. The idea of playing h4 is, of course, opening up the h-file. So here, if black castles, you can play h5. I know that looks crazy, but we are not caring about the material now. Instead, we are going for the attack. So if black takes with the knight, we are going to sacrifice the rook, and after takes, we take with the queen, and then this pawn is so weak, so we can play bishop d3, we can castle, we can play knight f3, knight g5, etc. So I think white is doing okay. White will have a great chance to attack to this pawn and this king, of course. Yeah, so I think that looks good for white, so you can go for this variation. And if black plays h5, pawn to h5 here, you can play knight f3, black castles. Now we play knight e5. The idea of playing knight e5 is preparing f3 followed with g4. So let's say here black plays knight d7. We are not going to exchange the knights. Instead, we are going to prepare our castle. So we play queen d2, and then we are going to play castle long, and then f3, g4. We are going to play on the king side like that. And if he takes our knight, now we can take with the bishop. Yeah, we can take with the bishop, I guess. And then we can go for f3 and then b2, g4, etc. So basically, we are going to play on this side. And if black plays bishop e7, if black wants to play in a King's Indian defense way, if he lets us to play e4, definitely go for e4. Just take the center like that. And then now, we probably, like if black castles, we can play e5 here. We can play pawn to e5. So most likely black will not want white to play e5. So I guess black will play d6 here to stop e5 here. And now we can play queen to d2, and then we are going to castle long. And then what we are going to do is we are going to play f3, bishop h6, b4, h4, h5, etc. Yeah, we can go for bishop h6, h4, g4, h5, and then we can open up this file for our rook, and the attack looks good for white. But one thing you should be careful about is, especially if you have opposite side castles on the board, like whoever is quicker, most likely he will win the game. So here I think one of the best ways for black to play is, or one of the things black needs to do is, launching an attack on the other side, on this side. So how do you think black can launch an attack on this queen side? Why black wants to play on this side? Because our king is on the queen side. We want to play on the king side because our opponent king is on the king side. If this king was on the queen side, and if we had castle short, if our king was on g1 and if his king was on c8, then we will be playing on the queen side. We wouldn't be playing on the king side. We will be playing on the queen side. So basically black should play on this side. I mean this side, the queen side. So I think black needs to play c6, followed with b5, b4, queen a5. Like he needs to bring more pieces to this queen side so he can launch an attack. Or he can also play like that, a6, b5, b4, etc. But I think c6 is better because after c6, black is also opening up this diagonal for his queen. So if that happens, guys, play f3, and then after b5, then you can play g4, you can play pawn to g4. Yeah, you can actually play bishop h6 as well. But let's say we play g4, and now whenever, this one is so important, whenever black plays queen a5, like please be careful about b4. So now don't play h4, don't play h4, or don't play bishop h6. That will be a mistake. Why? Because now black can play b4, and now after you move your knight, you will be losing this important pawn. Don't do that. Don't do that. Instead, just play king b1, and then after white plays b4, now you can safely put this knight to safe square. And now white is fine. White is fine. There is no counterattack on queen side for the black. But if you allow black to play b4 without bringing your king to b1, and if you lose the a2 pawn, it will be so bad for white. I mean, that will be so unnecessary for white. So whenever you see queen a5, keep in mind that you can play king b1 and then you are defending your a2 pawn. Yeah, okay. So, and then as I said, like we can play like bishop h6, we can play h4, h5, and then we can open up this file for our rook, and then that just looks good for white. Yeah, okay. So we came to end of the video, guys. So thank you so much for watching. And if you like the video, please like the video. And if you have any questions, feel free to write in the chat. So feel free to write in the comments section, and I would be happy to answer your questions. And also, if you have any suggestions or if you have any recommendations, feel free to let me know in the comments. Okay, thanks so much, guys. Take care. Bye bye. See you in the next video.